What's going on? It's your boy CJ Goodfella back one time for the one time. Shout out to everybody that been supporting the page and everybody that covered the fight last night. I did the review video, the media reaction video yesterday to the Ward and Kovalev rematch, and then I did the review video as well. I just dropped that, but the difference is between those two is the immediate reaction is just the immediate reaction to the fight. Breaking down what kind of happened in the fight. The review is pretty much breaking down some of the fight and then breaking down all the reaction from the media fans and the boxing aficionados and the boxers, what they thought about the fight. So, but honestly, man, let's talk about Adonis Stevenson versus Andre Ward. Now, Adonis Stevenson is actually technically the lineal champion, even though I think they stripped him. It was a little ring belt, magazine belt, or whatever. But he's actually the lineal champion. He got stripped of that belt because he hadn't been facing the best competition. But he did beat Chad Dawson, who was the guy at the division. But he beat him after Andre Ward. Andre Ward made Chad Dawson squeeze down to 7 pounds, 168. But Chad Dawson said he would do it. So Andre Ward made him of a man of his word. He did it. He lost, came back up, and got knocked immediately out by Adonis Stevenson in the first round. And the birth of a champion was born. A lot of people turned on Adonis Stevenson when the Sergey Kovalev fight didn't happen twice. It was about to happen the first time. When everybody wanted to see it, they weren't as known commodities. Well, at least of course, Kovalev wasn't as popular as he was then. After two great fights with Andre Ward in competitive fights, he wasn't. And Yvonne Michaels, I think that's Adonis Stevenson promoter, and Kathy Duval was hashing out a deal. All of a sudden, in the middle of the negotiations, because HBO was really going to put money and back that fight, Adonis Stevenson, signed the pack with Al Heyman to be managed by him. Jumped ship over to Showtime, so the fight didn't happen. About a year and a half ago, they started up again, or a year and a half ago, and then went to purse bid. And I think one of the belts made them mandatory fights. Main Events lost the purse bid to Adonis Stevenson and Al Heyman and whatever promoters he's with. So Adonis Stevenson, Kovalev pulled out the purse bid, said he didn't want to fight because they didn't want him fighting on PBC. They only wanted him exclusively fighting on HBO. And that's what his contract said. So that's the reason it didn't happen. Now, it's a lot of people out there saying that endorsing Adonis Stevenson now. Saying that there's no way, Andre Ward could take his left hand. These the same people just the other day, Friday, going into Saturday, going into the fight, called him Chickason, duck, Dodgers, and he's a bitch and all that shit. Same people that was speaking bad on his name, now endorsing him. Now you see how some boxing fans is jumping from, fighter to fighter like they some fucking, rock star groupies and shit like that. Just a week ago, they ain't like you, but now, back then they ain't want you. Right now, they all up on you, saying that it's no way that Ward can take his left hand. But I know my boy Stanley ILBTA, he been saying it. He's one of the guys that been endorsing Adonis Stevenson to beat Andre Ward. So he's one of the real ones that really still believed in him. I was a believer in Adonis Stevenson at one point before he just kept fighting all these weak ass fighters. I think he's a talented fighter. He's a guy who went to jail as far as a prostitution, pimping ring or some shit like that. Had like a handful of amateur fights, turned pro under Emmanuel Stewart tutelage at the age of 29, and he's blown up. He's blown up. He's reached higher levels than anybody could have predicted for him, especially after getting knocked out by Darnell Boone. And Andre Ward, we seen what he did last night. But, to me, and I have changed of heart before, I just don't see a one-handed fighter beating Andre Ward. I just can't fathom it. Adonis Stevenson's going to have to do something else, with his lead hand. He's got to do something else. His jab is not bad. It's pretty good. But, if he it's not like he throws it lazy and it freezes a lot of his opponents and they get stuck in the mud and then they just, suckers for the left hand right down the middle. And the thing about it is, man, he don't throw the left, like he don't throw the left hook, from afar. He'll throw the uppercut and left hook in close distance when he's ready to knock you out. I just see Andre Ward taking away that weapon, that left hand, and really beating him to a pulp. I know people talking about they act like Adonis Stevenson is a natural full-fledged 175 pounder, but he started off at 168 pounds like Andre Ward, and he did call out Andre Ward last night on Facebook and said that this fight should have happened when we both was at 68. It didn't happen, but I'm ready to make it happen now. come see the king or some shit like that. And at 68, Adonis Stevenson was so under the radar. After getting knocked out with Darnell Boone, he wasn't considered, as a real threat after the Super 6. He took an opportunity, jumped up to 175 to fight Chad Dawson, and it worked out for him. But as far as beating Andre Ward, it's a good fight. It's a possible fight that he can knock out Andre Ward because he's such a great puncher. But I just don't see a one-handed fighter beating Andre Ward at this point in his career. We gone.